Yo, what's going on, guys? Ankith here. Sorry about that. Welcome back to the channel. Today we'll be going over my my Grandmaster Gauntlet run, and I will be talking about who I used in my run and why did I use them. I will talk about my revive count. I don't have the revive count on which fight, I just have it written separately, and I don't remember very exactly I used them, but I will talk about that too. And the video is going to be sped up. If there are some interesting fights, for example this bishop fight, all of my bishop fights are interesting, so I just left all of them in, and I left the whole part of it, and I just sped them up. So I didn't want the video to be more than 22 minutes long, because the run is, I guess, an hour and a half or something. So yeah. So of course Doom, you can easily Magneto him. I'm using the 20% champion boost and mutant power boost. So this bishop is rank 4 to 100, and I tested him right at the start, and he had a lot of energy resistance. I just didn't use my regen buffs enough, even though the regen isn't that much, but it's a fair chunk. And I was supposed to get this solo, but right at the end, somewhere over here, I miss a parry, and that does like 5,000 damage into my block, which is almost like 7-8%. Let's see, how much percentage of HP is it? Come on. I didn't even get a chance to look, but it was like 7-8% of my HP. So if I hadn't taken that, if I hadn't missed that parry, I think this would have been a solo. But ideally you want to run a 30% champion boost plus like 15% HP and attack boost as well. So if you're running that, I think a rank 3 bishop can solo Terax. I'm going to try and solo him again separately and see if I can post a video of that. So that was the first revive. And then Vision, very easy fight with Magneto, you just like crush him. And then here, this is MODOK. He is also a very easy fight with Kingpin. I just screw up because my fingers were sweaty and I eat a lot of special ones, but I didn't die, and it turned out to be a solo anyways. But what I want to talk about is the pig. And a lot of people actually find the pig to be not really, but a bit tough, or quite tough. And I used 2 different strategies. So I died. I'm just going to say that right over here. But the first time I died, I was using a different strategy, and compare that to the second time that I went in, and I didn't die the second time. I got the victory. I was using a totally different strategy, and that worked so well. I've been telling people that when Kingpin spams his SP1 and he has the opponent backed in the corner, they almost immediately throw their special attack. Like, you can just see this from this fight, and it's going to be even more evident in the Spider Pig fight. Alright, I think, okay, so this one is done. Now, at the start, my strategy was to go for SP3s, because I'm going to refresh my overpower, and I'm going to get 5 additional debuffs. Now on paper, that isn't really bad, because and Spider-Ham, yeah, he's gonna evade, but his evades are fairly predictable. They're not really predictable, but they're fairly predictable. But what I didn't factor in was me being cornered and the block damage that I was gonna take. So there's no way around the block damage, because it's a debuff immune fight, so my SP1s are not going to stick no matter what. But the fight is still going okay. It's not that bad. But I do end up dying, because I think I get taunted at some point, and I forget that if I'm taunted, his SP2 is going to be unblockable. I think it's going to be somewhere around here, because first time around I only get him down to 45%, I think. Let's see, it's probably coming somewhere over here. Yeah, I think it's this part. Okay, so I almost got him down to 40%. So that fight was a bit sketchy, but now you're going to watch me go with my SP1 strategy only, which is what I recommend everybody to do. And he's going to throw his special immediately. You see that? You see? he just immediately throws his special attack. The second he comes up, or the second he recovers from falling down or being knocked down, immediately he throws his SP1. And that's what everybody wants him to do, but he never really does that. So if you want to do this fight again, and if I'm going to try this again for sure, I'm only going to go for SP1s. That's going to be perfect, because it's going to be a bit of a longer fight, but he's definitely going to cooperate and not be such a big pain. Alright, and then I have Nimrod over here. I brought in Nimrod for all the mutants, plus for all the mutants, and for Void as well. Plus I was like, hey, Nimrod can actually do the last 40% of Sasquatch. I do have Archangel for him, but if things don't go well, I'm just gonna use Nimrod. So we'll see how that goes, but Weapon X, he's a pretty easy fight over here with Nimrod. He's just gonna go down very, very quickly. I think this was just a 2.5 minute fight if I don't speed it up. But yeah, so far I think I only used 2 revives, and honestly both of them should have been solos. I calculated, so let me just bring up where I have it written down. Okay, so I calculated and I used 8 revives and 1 team revive. And if you change up the strategy and you play a bit more safer, because I wasn't playing safe in a couple of fights, I will talk about that in a bit. If you change up the strategy and play a bit safer, you can do this thing in 3 or 4 revives. Like, I was thinking 3 revives, but yeah, maybe 4, maybe 1 more. So while I was talking about that, Kingpin took down Thing pretty easily. That was a joke of a fight. There's nothing he does that hinders or that makes the fight difficult. Now, this is a very interesting fight. So I'm running max Pacify, and a lot of people had issues with this quirk because of the block damage. So my bishop is sick 200, and I ended the last fight purposely at SP1, which means that now whenever I block, I reduce their ability accuracy by 80% plus 30% from max Pacify. What does that mean? It means that he's not going to gain any additional block proficiency or block penetration based on the Gauss Warp charges. Because I've seen people, they just blocked about 10 or 15, no, they didn't block 10-15 times, but they had like 10 or 15 Gauss Warp charges, and the block damage was like 3000. But over here, you're going to see the block or the parry damage is only 164. It was 164 at the start of the fight. It's going to be 164 at the end of the fight. And of course, Bishop, he just wrecks Cork because he shrugs off. Pretty easy fight. I'm really happy that I brought in Bishop. I just wanted to use him against 3 fights specifically. I was thinking I would use him against Black Panther Civil War 2, which I do in a bit. But that didn't go according to plan. So Dragon Man over here, I just use my SB3 and I get enough power back to throw another SB3, and that's it. I had to actually force quit and restart because his AI wasn't cooperative at the start. So I'm going to tell you that right off the bat. It might be a bit sketchy, you might need to do that, but yeah. So Black Panther Civil War, I forgot he had Armored Assault. Such an idiot I am. And that's what cost me a revive over here. So this, you can very easily spare this revive if you just read the nodes properly. So I'm like, hey, it's Black Panther Civil War. I'm just gonna parry him when he has armor up. He's gonna like get that burst damage 4000 or whatever it is. And he's not gonna be able to reflect the sun because I'm gonna be sun immune. But I totally forgot there was armored assault. So I die over here and I just like end up bringing in Kingpin. It was a very slow fight. It took me like 9 or 10 minutes. SP1's like really slow fight, but the good thing was that I had him cornered for the most of the fight, and yeah, I got him down pretty easily over there. I didn't record that video because I did record it, but it was like such a long fight. I thought there's no point of actually putting that in here. Okay, and then Nightcrawler here. He didn't want to switch to the other sense. There was no limber, so I'm like, well, Nimrod is tanky. I can just like parry and do my SP2. So pretty easy fight with Nightcrawler, or with Nimrod, sorry. And then this was also another very, very long fight. I think this was around 7 or 8 minutes. A lot of people also use a similar strategy where they just hit her block, and that does a lot of damage to her. So real quick, first 2 bats are done, and I've only used 3 revives yet. All 3 of them could be avoided. I would recommend really farming up a lot of resources, though, a lot of potions at least, if you want to do this with this team. Yeah, I don't know if I show the whole thing, because you get the idea. You just hit her block quite a bit. Sometimes I even just go, I just hit her like normally, and as soon as she evades, it just gives me a rage, and it helps me build up so I can throw my SP1, which is unblockable. She's going to evade the first part, but she's not going to evade the second part because she's going to hold her block. And that does quite a bit of damage. You know, it's like a constant damage over time that's just ticking along. Also, I think my Nimrod fights, because I haven't seen anyone bring Nimrod, so Nimrod and Bishop fights I show completely. So yeah, this is also a Nimrod fight. This is a Domino with Limber and Power Shield, and Matador as well, I think. Yeah. So Nimrod actually messes up a bit with Matador, not because he avoids getting the power bar, but because he power drains the opponent. And at some point I take a big chunk of damage because I was trying to be cheeky and parry her SP1. I think it's the next one. Yeah, I remember it was like when she had less than 10%. Yeah. Was it? No, or maybe I just missed the parry. I don't know, but I was a bit scared. I'm like, oh, am I going to get the solo or not? But yeah, she goes down here. I should have just thrown that SP1. She would have died, but I think I do go for the SP2. Yeah, there you go. All right, and this Archangel, I think... So I don't think you're going to have the best RNG always. I think you will use 1 or maybe 2 revives here. I use 1 revive here. It's like a mixture of block damage. It's a mixture of things like he getting or Mojo getting his prompts automatically completed, and then a degen. So I do think I bring him like, well I'm at 3% HP, and I bring him down to 25%, which is pretty cool. But yeah, I think this is a fight where you will almost definitely use a revive, no matter what. I think so. Unless your RNG is like really, really good and Mojo plays ball, and you know his prompts aren't also that difficult or unavoidable, rather. So yeah, this is where I take the L once, and then we are going up against Ibom. So I made a big mistake over here, and I think I made a big mistake. I died here 2 times. This is a very easy solo if you don't do what I'm doing. So what I'm doing is that I'm just pushing him to SP2, and I'm pushing myself to my SP2, so that I'm just going to constantly keep on gaining a lot of debuffs and shrugging them off, entering my overpowers really quickly. I am hitting quite hard. I don't know if I die right over here or he's going to throw that special. Yeah, okay, so I die right over there because of the disorient, because that's stuck for some reason. But I do hit like quite hard. And here I make the same mistake of pushing him to SP2, thinking that okay, I'm just going to change my strategy, go for SP1, so I'm going to reduce the poison damage. But those poisons, like, they really stack up, and because I'm not running the hood synergy, I think I really underestimated how much damage Ibom can do. Like, that hood synergy is really a savior for Kingpin. But I've seen a lot of people, they just like they just make this a 10-minute long fight, or maybe 7-8 minute long fight where they only bait SP1s from Ibom. And I think if I'm to go back in here, I would also do that. I would just push him or only bait his SP1s. So there I died twice. I think I'm at 5 or 6 revives at this point. And then APOC, I'm just gonna bring in my Nimrod, pretty easy solo. And then over here I bring in Archangel, and I think I'm not going to bring in Archangel, or neither would I recommend you guys to bring in Archangel unless he's a horseman. which, you know, if you're gonna use the team that I'm using, you're not gonna be able to get him as a horseman. So the issue with this fight is that you're gonna get a lot of disorients, and even though you are reducing their ability accuracy, one or two are just gonna slip through at times, and there's almost nothing you can do. Archangel has a lot of damage, but Sasquatch is also pretty chunky. That's like 1,000,000 HP. So what I would recommend instead is to bring in Kingpin. Do I showcase Kingpin? I don't think I showcase Kingpin because it was a really long fight. I do showcase one really cool thing with Kingpin though. But you can just bring in Kingpin, get Sasquatch down to like 40%, and then bring in Nimrod to nuke the last part. So here I end up using a revive. The first two paths were 3 revives, I think. I don't remember. I think it was 3 revives. Then I died twice to Ibom. And once, yeah, it was like 6, I think. But yeah, I take the L over here, and then I just bring in Kingpin, and I just record this part because I think it was pretty cool. I had only one SP1 degen up. I used my heavy attack, and that big Sasquatch, he only did like 20-25% HP as damage, which was pretty cool. So over here, then I decided to bring in Nimrod, and I was like, Nimrod can just shut down the regeneration. I just need to be in that orange mode, whatever it's called, Blitz protocol. There you go. But the place where I made a mistake was that I completely forgot that he has power snack. I mean, I didn't forget, but I accidentally pushed him to 2.5 bars of power, and then I triggered power snack, which got me killed. Like, it got me killed right when he had only 7 or 6% HP. So what would my strategy be for this fight? I would bring in Kingpin. I would take him down to 40%, and then I would just use Nimrod to nuke like the rest of 40%. And be careful of that power snack. You're gonna see that happen really quick. Somewhere over here, I think. Yeah, right over here. So yeah, that was pretty much KO. So I just revived Nimrod again, and I brought him in and finished off the remainder of Sasquatch. And then you see that Void's HP is really low. That's because I brought in Nimrod and I took him down to that much HP. Nimrod worked very well because you can just throw your heavy attacks and push him far away. And then I bring in Magneto over here because I know that his SP2 is going to do quite a lot of damage. And it was only 67k damage, but you know, it got the job done. Alright, and then over here we got Nick Fury, and again, as mentioned last time, I end the fight with SP1, so I have minus 80% ability accuracy plus minus 30% from Pacify. So this node has kinetic transference, and he doesn't gain power whenever I parry. He never gains power, like not even once that happens. It's only gonna happen in the second life because I cannot parry him, so I'm only gonna reduce him or reduce his ability accuracy by 80%. And I know a lot of people are gonna be like, this isn't a really tough fight, but it just shows how much utility Bishop has, and of course it comes at sig to 100, but that's really useful. I think it's pretty useful. Ideally, I would switch to Suicide Masteries and use him with Suicides because because he does better with them. But even without, he's putting in quite a lot of work. The fights are longer, yeah, but he does put in quite a lot of work. And then right at the end there was Thanos. I didn't read his abilities. I think I've used a team revive somewhere over here already. Thanos isn't really hard. I think after that Sasquatch, I used a team revive, and I used one revive to use Kingpin and take down Thanos, but it's just like me not reading his notes right. So overall, it was just like I think 9 revives and 1 team revive, something like that. You can easily do this thing in 3 to 4 or 5 revives using this team. I think I'm going to try that again, or maybe I'm just going to do an Aegon run. I haven't decided it yet, but we're going to see, because there's a permanent content. I'm probably just going to farm up a lot of potions at some point, and you know, just go for the a few more runs. But yeah, that's it, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and I'll catch you next time. Let me know if you have any questions.